Hello, and welcome to Afternoon Tea with Karen. On the Victorian Government and potentially federal government hate speech and social cohesion laws kicking off in Ballarat. On the 10th of March, Ballarat Muslims traumatised after right wing attack on community dinner. Members of a Muslim community restrain a man they say stormed into a dinner gathering in Ballarat. Photos supplied. So someone there's taken a photo which has been supplied to the ABC of this guy's distinguishable tattoos and his clean shaven head. So he's not a random homeless person. And the centre's a bit out of the way. So he would have driven there. It's not somewhere that you would have not gone unless you were intending on going there. Anyway, in short, the man declared himself as far right and allegedly threw abuse and punches. Ooh, so he assaulted people. Usman was leaving an iftar dinner held as part of Ramadan in the Ballarat suburb of Alfreton on Sunday when a man stormed into the community centre. And it's this too hard to pronounce community centre. And that photo there, that one, the carpet, the bench, the wall panelling, door trimmings. Different hallway, but same building, same carpet, and big capacity, and it's in Dongle Drive, Alfreton. And Alfreton is an outer suburb, and this is on the outskirts of Alfreton. You see the nice photo of the paddocks. Hasn't been built yet in that picture. And IGAF, I'm just starting to learn about this. On the west side of Ballarat, the centre was built to cater for the new suburbs that are no longer going to be built there because the state government's run out of money and can't afford to put the infrastructure in. So now they want developers to build high rises in the city, apartments, so that they can help with the housing crisis. Erzman said the man declared himself as far right, threatened the children outside of the community hall before barging in and throwing punches and abuse at people. You get in and out of a car. Oh, there he is. And the ABC are connecting it to Pauline Hanson because she said, rejected a question about good Muslims. Oh, I can't remember. What was that about again, ABC?
The federal leader, Pauline Hanson, recently suggested that there were no good Muslims. Do you agree with her?
Well, I 100% agree with her sentiments, and the question is, how do you define what a good Muslim is? I could put that question to you. Do you have a definition?
Well, I'm asking you the question. What
Sure. Well, a good Muslim under Islam is someone who obeys Sharia law and follows the Prophet Muhammad. So you've got to think about the definitions you've got.
To be clear, do you believe there are no good Muslims in Australia?
Well, no. But if you want to say someone is a good Muslim, then their values are incompatible with Australian values. If you say that someone happens to be of the Muslim faith and heritage and they obey our laws and things under Islam, they are not good Muslims. So it's about how you define it.
And we thank you for mansplaining, Corey. On arrival, police located a man being detained by people in the hall. A 37-year-old man was interviewed by police at the scene and was then given direction to move on. The investigation into the incident is ongoing. A petition online asking federal member for Ballarat Catherine King, Ballarat Mayor Tracy Hargreaves and Ballarat Police to take the matter seriously received 552 signatures. We respectfully request that this incident be thoroughly investigated and that appropriate legal action be taken against the individual responsible, including the laying of charges where applicable. Behaviour involving threats, intimidation, and racist abuse, particularly in the presence of children, must not be tolerated. And what about the assault too? You forgot that. That's the most important thing. That he assaulted people. Ms. King, who is the Federal Minister for Infrastructure, Transport, Regional Development and Local Government. I'm sorry, I can't say that with a straight face. Have you driven on Victorian roads, Ms. King? We've got you to thank for them. Anyway, every Australian Muslim has the right to feel safe in their community, just like every other Australian has a right to feel safe and be safe or something. Anyway, Who's this chick? Ballarat Regional Multicultural Council CEO. Oh, she's from a not-for-profit. At the moment, it's more online. We had an open day at the mosque last month, and many people from the broader community came along to that, and it was a real day of celebration. And after they posted about it online, there was backlash. Well, the council actually does that too. They'll have pride events and things, but they don't advertise them, so that way people can't protest them and stuff. So they just advertise within their own community. So people probably didn't know that there was a mosque having an open day in Ballarat. Now, on the 11th, Home Affairs Minister to discuss right-wing attack on Ballarat Muslims with the Australian Federal Police. So Tony Burke will speak with the Federal Police about the alleged attack on a Muslim iftar dinner in Ballarat. The community leaders are disappointed by the response so far. Mr. Burke's condemned the man's behaviour, and the Federal Police will help the Victorian Police if they need it. 3 days after the alleged attack, Victorian Police today asked victims to visit the Ballarat Police Station to write a statement. Victim's statement was seen by the ABC. The person started to assault by punching him in the face and holding his neck and kicking him. So he would have gone to the hospital, and there will be a hospital report that will go along with that the police will collect. Police said the alleged attacker was not arrested at the scene. He was instead asked to move on. And a quick look at the anti-vilification laws. Won't talk about them. These have already happened. But pause and read if you don't know about them. They just get these petitions signed. They get a few thousand people, if that. And then the next thing you know, something gets passed in Parliament and banned. So getting rid of the Nazi salutes and symbols lowered the threshold for hate speech, yada, yada. Right now, it's 11 minutes. Let's listen to a little bit of this.
Usman is one of those who hosted this dinner for a group of families in Ballarat. Usman, thanks so much for joining us.
Morning, Ralph.
When did you first notice something was happening?
Look, I was busy hosting my guests in the main hall, and that's when we heard commotion outside. And I stepped out and saw my brother in a fist fight with a guy. So obviously it took me a couple of seconds to realize what was happening. And obviously we had a lot of kids there, ages between 3 to 14, who were standing around, and many of these kids were absolutely panicked, crying. And the worst thing for me was that when I looked at the person and, my brother trying to hold him back, it felt like that the person was holding a knife in his hand. And that's where I really panicked, jumped in and tried, containing the situation.
Did you join in to physically restrain him?
I did immediately. Obviously, I was concerned about the safety of my guests, specifically the safety of the children who were there. And obviously, it was, a situation where everybody was extremely panicked. There was a lot of fear. Children were crying and screaming. So were the ladies. And it was an absolute chaos.
Did he have a weapon?
No, fortunately, he did not. But obviously, the guy was, shouting slogans like, "Death to Muslims, I'm going to kill you all." He was, passing threats. And obviously, his intent was to hurt anybody he could. And thankfully...
Usman, how long was he shouting for? Was he still shouting when you and your friends were holding him down?
Absolutely. And literally when I stepped in to try restraining him, he was even, threatening to kill me, kill everybody else around us. He was, saying things like, "I'm going to send you all to Allah."
Were you scared?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I've never experienced any such thing in Australia, at least in my 9 years here. I've worked in, many third world countries and war zones. So, yeah, I've seen things happening. But this was my first experience of any such thing happening in Australia.
Usman is who you're listening to. He hosted this dinner in Ballarat over the weekend, an iftar dinner to end the fast on a day during Ramadan. Ramadan's still going. Usman, How long did it take to calm him down? Or did you calm him down?
Look, we managed to subdue him. Eventually, we managed to put him down. He was not calm initially, but came around after a
How
couple
many of
minutes.
you were holding him down?
Look, it was three of us holding him down. In the meanwhile, we had called the police. They came in around 10 minutes, and then we handed him over.
Did they arrest him?
Look, that's something that we are still unsure about. After 2 days of constantly pursuing with the police, I finally received a message earlier today to come in and give a statement. But we are under the impression that police had detained him and let him go immediately.
So they didn't arrest him and detain him or take him to...
That is our understanding. Yes, that is my understanding at least. And the most unfortunate part of the whole thing is that there were absolutely no follow-ups or updates from the police, despite us constantly following up. I went to the police station yesterday myself, trying to inquire about it, and they had absolutely no logs or no information around what had happened post this incident.
Just a reminder, Usman's hosted this dinner. Usman also held this man down. The ABC has checked with Victoria Police. Police say the man was told to move on and no charges have been laid. Usman, let's just go back a bit to the dinner on the weekend. Once this had happened and the police had come along, how did that leave everyone feeling?
Look, everybody was obviously pretty scared, specifically the children and the ladies. The guy had created an absolute chaos and an environment of fear. And it now the post-event situation is that my kids are scared to go out. My 5-year-old constantly keeps asking me whether the bad man is going to return, right? And the other friends I've been speaking with are sharing similar sort of experiences with their children. Like some of the children are unwilling to sleep in their own rooms. They want to, sleep with their parents now. They're so scared. And obviously, it being the holy month of Ramadan, we are having regular congregations at the local mosque. And everybody is scared about the safety, So we are looking over our shoulders while praying because, we are absolutely focused on prayers when we are standing praying, and everybody is now in fear of security. So we have now started dedicating, resources to ensure that somebody is on a lookout at the mosque.
Right, so you're increasing your own security basically at your mosque.
Absolutely.
Will you have another iftar dinner? What about because you have a big meal at the end of Ramadan as well? Is it going to affect any of those plans?
It actually has resulted in a lot of cancellations. We have to have our Eid congregation in around 10 days. And we are now, considering what needs to be done on the day, what sort of security arrangements we need to have at the congregation. It has basically created an environment of fear in the community.
Do you think the police took it seriously enough?
Look, I feel that it was not handled appropriately by the police. If the man was just detained and let go the same evening, despite, serious concerns being raised with witnesses present, people willing to, come forward and talk about the incident and willing to provide police the statements. And as a matter of fact, if I remember correctly, 4 or 5 of us had actually given our initial statements to the police on the spot. And I feel that appropriate action was not taken by the police to ensure that the person was arrested and properly charged for the incident.
So the ABC got the 20 years wrong. It should be 9. I reckon he'll be an associate of Thomas Sewell's. And that'll do. I'm out of time. See you later. Bye.